Hi, I'm here to give you another video, in this particular case on a review of the Black Fencer synthetic swords. When I say Black Fencer synthetic swords, I mean like these. You keep seeing them in our videos, we've got a variety of them. And I'm just going to give an overview of the product range and what we think of them, because people keep asking. So, first of all, the Longsword. This is a version 2, then on to version 3 now. What have we thought about it? Well, it's been fantastic, to be honest. We bent the crossbar eventually, but I know that they don't want to temper them because that can cause issues on the plastics, so that's fair enough. I don't think it's a particular issue. The pommel, okay, it was a bit sharp and a little bit heavy, and again, they've ground it off and smoothed it now, so the only issue that I have with this sword, they've already fixed. And the reason I show you it is because we've had this the longest. It's at least a year, and it's taken a beating at every session. It's been fantastically good, so I would say go with their version 3 long swords, any one you like, double D-ring, any length you like, they're all good, depending on what you want, so I think they're damn good. The sabers, up until now we've not actually had anything that represents the Napoleonic British flank officer's sword. And now we have, and if you look at it, they originally marketed it as a Polish saber, but it's also spot on for being used as British Georgian flank officer's sword. What do I think of this? Well, actually I absolutely love it. Been using it an awful lot. The first generation was good, that we had, and this one's improved again. The balance point is now, I think 11 centimeters, which is only, well, the original is 15, so it's brought back a little bit for safety. The weight, it's just 50 grams less than the original, which is 760 grams. The grip is really long. Personally, I would say a whisker too long, but I know lots of people like to use big gloves, even mittens. So I don't think they should reduce the grip. I think it's about right for the variety of gloves. Have we had any issues with it? Only this one knuckle bow here. We snapped my one a few months ago and fixed it soon enough. It's the only issue we've had, and I think that was a fluke. They've been absolutely fantastic. The Armin sword. Again, I don't use it that much because I do lots of Renaissance stuff with sort of complex hilted swords, but I do use it, and I think it's absolutely lovely sword. 800 grams, balance point of about 10 centimeters. It's a really fast, without being excessively fast sword, that has a nice bit of flex without having any kind of whippiness or bounce too much in the fight. Some people might find that the grip's a bit short. You can get a nightshot glove in it, the Red Dragon gloves, but you can't really get a mitten on it, so that's one concern. If you want to use mittens, you might want to look at a bigger glove. I don't think you can really improve on that, in my eyes. Maybe some people want to grind these corners off here to make it a little bit smoother on your hand and your glove, and that's about it. They've been great. The Montante. Up till now, we haven't had a Montante of any kind. We've fabricated a few of our own, but, well, they've looked rubbish and we wouldn't want to even put them on film. Suddenly, we've now got these. We did have some steel ones years ago, and well, they hit like hell. You would never want to use them, really. Not for sparring. Are they perfect? Not really. They have a bit of whip to them, a little bit of flexibility. Is that avoidable? I don't think so, and I think in many ways it's desirable in the fight because, well, they don't hit near as hard as some of the steels. They come out at 2 kilos, which means that actually they are just about in the range of what will be typical of this kind of big Zweihander or Montante. You can use them for full contact sparring. Well, I say if you've got the gear for it. Durability wise, I would have expected them to break here. I would have expected all the synthetics at some point to break here because, well, the guard, the quillum, passes straight through the plastic, and therefore it's a weak point. Have any of them broken? Well, no. We've got about 50 of them, and we haven't broken a single one at that point yet, and we keep using them for high contact. So far, I don't think it's an issue. In terms of flexibility, people are used to using with synthetics things like nightshot swords, which we still use quite a bit as well. They have a lot more flexibility, and they also have a lot more whip in the fight, which some people have considered undesirable. It's worse the longer the blade is. The Black Fencer stuff doesn't have that. It stays as stiff as you'd expect a good feather throughout much of the fight and only flexes on impact. It'll hit harder on the thrust and it'll hit harder on the cut. And in that regard, yes, the Black Fencer products, they market them as like steel, and they are much more like steel than your nightshot stuff. with all the things that come with that. So they do hit a little bit harder on both cut and thrust. So that is a concern if you're concerned about that. So you've got to vary it depending on your actual equipment. In terms of cost, well, the Black Fencer stuff comes out around about the same price as Night Shop, so I don't think that's really an issue. Availability is because they're making all the stuff in one factory themselves, and you can wait a few months for them. Unless you're in the US, you might look at some of the sellers that actually import them. You might be able to get them off the shelf. You're going to pay a little bit more, of course, because they've had to be imported, but I think still well worth it. If you're willing to wait and you want something that's a bit more like steel, I really recommend them. If you want something that is inherently a little bit safer and off the shelf, Night Shop's good as well. You'll still see quite a variety of both in our club. In terms of realism, what do we think of them? Well, I'll leave comparing the arguments of steel, synthetic, wooden swords and everything else to a different video. But in terms of what do I think of them realism-wise, I think they're damn good. They bounce a little bit, not too much. They don't have any whippiness in them. You can use them to good high contact levels. We found them to be absolutely fantastic so far. As I said, we've got at least 50. We're buying and probably close to that again now in our next order. So do I recommend them? Absolutely yes. I've already said about the Night Shop as an alternative, and if you're in the US, you might want to look at Purple Heart Armory, which sell something similar. Over here, we don't tend to buy American products for the simple reason that you've got to pay extra shipping and import duties and clearance fees and all kinds of extra costs which really aren't good. So overall, would I recommend the Black Fencer products? Absolutely yes. They are damn good, and we're going to be buying an awful lot more of them. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I will do more specific videos on each of the products at a later date, where I can provide a bit more in terms of lengths and weights and balances and all sorts of things like that. But for now, that's an overview of Black Fencer products. I hope you enjoyed the video, and please subscribe so you'll get plenty more in the future.